Okay, here we go.
You are now listening to the Black Geeks.
Tie it all together,
Yo,
brother. Tie it all together.
I'm out, man. Y'all guys have a good
All right.
one. I gotta be on a flight in a couple of hours.
All right,
Pop
Pop
Belly.
Talk to you later. Okay, be safe out there.
Peace.
Be safe out there. All right.
That's crazy.
What?
I need to go because I gotta get on a flight. Because it's late. Well, I mean, you're going to sleep on the flight anyway.
Dude, you know he's got to put on his whole avocado mask, and that takes at least a good 25 minutes.
Yo, you damn right. I gotta keep it sexy, baby. Haters.
You know he ain't got that phone.
I think with some sex involved. I think he just saying, "Buzz, I gotta go. I gotta get something." So y'all take care.
Yeah, because I'm. You gotta get that. You gotta get that piece before you get on the road. Come on now, the goodbye stuff.
Look here, now you gone off the rails.
Okay. Can I bring up one more quick topic before we roll out?
I want to say one thing about the DC thing because I was talking about Gotham. I went and caught up. I'm only short by the last 30 minutes of the last episode of Gotham. You know, it's interesting what I'm seeing, and I'm having one of those those Black Geek premonition moments where we're like, I think this is going to happen. It's interesting because what I'm seeing. Because you know how we do sometimes, like we say stuff on the show, and sometimes it happens. Most of the time it happens. A lot of times it doesn't too, but. What I'm seeing on Gotham, and it's still kind of a shaky show to me, especially the big age difference between Bruce and all the other villains. But it's interesting because they're starting to build that little young Bruce Wayne character, and they could really be gearing up for a Batman kind of prequel to kind of. And if you think about it, that's something that people will watch if they watch from the moment that he leaves the house. And he goes on the road, and all the different training that he goes through in the League of Shadows and everything. I mean, man, I think that would be a doggone good show that a lot of people would probably watch of how he goes along before he actually puts on the cape and cowl. But I'm just saying, I say that because I'm looking at how they're developing the young Bruce Wayne through this show. Not only just physically, but intellectually. And I'm like, they really could be laying groundwork for like a Batman Year Zero. It's interesting. I just see the potential.
I was watching this last episode of Gotham as well. And I kind of see where you're going. I just don't. The thing with me in Gotham is, like you said, the age difference. I'm not a big DC fan, but I know enough to realize that I did not believe that most of those characters they're introducing are 20 years older than Bruce or whatever. Or it doesn't seem right. And the most interesting thing about this show to me still is the Penguin and Fish Mooney characters. I think I just don't care about Gordon. I just don't. I don't. I know the show's supposed to be about him, but I'm kind of like, just give me more Penguin and Fish Mooney, and I'll be okay. Especially just her set it off moments and Jason Lyric moments. I don't know what it is. She do certain things like when she smacked the girl around. I was just like, why she got to be so hardcore? When she was in the bed with the Russian, I was just like, dang, Jada, dang, Will, you go ahead, Will.
She gangster. I mean, honestly, she's got to be hard because you look at the people she's going up against. She can't show any weakness. She can't show any. So she's got to be hard like that. But yeah, you're right. You're right. It's like, who really cares so much about Gordon? I mean, I don't really. I never thought that they could build a whole show around him. It's just kind of like an odd episode of. It's an odd episode of Law and Order to me. It just kind of meanders on.
But you know what? It's funny. I never thought that Gordon was going to be interesting or work, but like you said, and I didn't care about the kid at first, but this last episode, his story was way more interesting than Gordon.
It was, wasn't it?
How bad Gordon is that they could give this kid, young Bruce, a couple of scenes for the first time. He got more time than any other episode, and he was the most interesting character, more interesting than Gordon, I should say. Penguin was really interesting this episode. Even though he shared scenes with Gordon, he was still more interesting.
It was. I mean, it's really interesting the path they're taking him down, and it's cool because they're actually showing his development. Like I said, he's getting into the politics. He's getting into the understand the social dynamics of the city, understanding what his parents are trying to do. But yet Alfred is still like training him in fencing and other things. So I mean, you are really. That's why I'm like. I think that's what I'm thinking is that they're laying the groundwork for him to leave the house and like. Not, I say maybe like season 3 or season 4, and they're gonna go back and forth between Gordon and him out on the road training, and eventually spawn off an early Batman television series.
Well, I think there's too much bat fatigue. The comics are just getting ridiculous. They have maybe about 9 titles. You got this DC universe that's ramping up. I just don't see Gotham lasting 3 or 4 or 5 seasons. I just think, unless Fox and sci-fi or fantasy don't mix very well outside of Fringe. I just don't see it having those type of legs unless they really put more emphasis on the writing. I'm just starting to. It's just pedestrian to me, but that's just me.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem with DC though, and I think Phayce is still on it. He can probably correct me if I'm wrong here. I think the biggest problem with DC overall is that their most popular characters that everyone knows that seem to be the most interesting are the same ones.
Yeah.
Flash, Batman, Superman. Whereas Marvel, on the other hand, I don't know if this was just the way they built characters, but they have a lot to play with. Avengers, X-Men, Fantastic Four, and a lot of people know them, not on the same level as they know Superman or Wolverine now, thanks to Fox. But, they just got something that have a lot more to pull from. Even though I think DC technically might have more characters, I don't know. It just seems like
Marvel. Really. I think they got the same amount because they all got the same kind of core characters. Plus, each one bites off the other, so they have the same. It's just what they marketing.
But does Marvel have the same core? Because how do you define a core character? Like for me, Marvel has.
This is why the difference between what Marvel does. There's a difference between Marvel and DC. DC has really highlighted only a handful of characters for over 40 years.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So what you're saying is not that they don't exist, it's just that they only have kept putting them to the front.
They only really highlighted, the concept of the Justice League is not necessarily the same as the Avengers, because if you really paid attention, there's always a multiple roving group of Avengers, but there's only the 3. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. That's it.
Right.
That's all you're talking about. Even when they try to make another Justice League, it crashed and burned, and it always comes back to Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. That's it.
Yeah.
And then look what they did with the Teen Titans. They basically still got Robin. You got what's that show y'all got me watching? Young Justice. It's they still are playing off those
Teen Titans. The real Teen Titans, back in the day, is an offshoot. Superboy, Robin, and Wonder Girl, or Diana Troy, or whatever you want to call her. Aqualad. Those were offshoots. They didn't do anything new. And so when you look at Marvel, you got the X-Men, and they're all different.
And then you got different X-Men teams. You got X-Men Gold, X-Men Blue, X-Force, Excalibur, X-Factor,
and they're all different. They're not. Oh, this is just Cyclops, but in pink spandex instead of blue spandex. No, they're different. All different.
With unique. In case in point,
they're core guys, but at the same time, they highlight other people while talking about it. Like Iron Man wasn't a core guy. Iron Man has been popular recently.
Yeah, this is recently.
Yeah, he was a B character. Yeah.
He was a big character. All the Avengers, it was about the group, not the individual people. So it was easy to replace them and highlight other characters. And that's them in the long run. You know what I mean? Where DC only has the couple. But they have a bunch of characters, too. You just don't care. because they don't have no real backstory. Like, the next best thing, their backstory, is Captain Marvel, and that is the worst backstory of all time. That's why they got shut down. You know what I'm saying? That's why it got shut down for a while. Because ain't nobody trying to check for that stupid stuff. Because they didn't know how to do anything else. And now
I'm gonna tell you,
it's
crazy. I've been in the past few days. I've been catching up on graphic novels. So I revisited X-Men Gifted, which is basically white Emma Frost, Cyclops, Beast, Wolverine, and Kitty Pryde, and they're running to school, and some drama happens, and they find Colossus. And it was a really interesting thing, not because I knew all the characters, but it just seemed like everyone had their own story. There was tension, there was drama. Finished that. Picked up DC Crisis of Infinite Earth. Almost sleep by almost a quarter of the way through, and I still don't care. There's multiple Flashes, multiple Supermans, Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth 3. I'm like, oh, really? Well, this Superman can't fly. He can just jump high, and he's older. And this Superman is the one I'm familiar with. This Flash, his name is Barry. Well, this one name is Wally. I'm like, so you just kept recycling characters, just putting them on different Earths, and that's the way you get. Then they introduce the villains, and I don't care nothing about these villains. They don't seem remotely interesting. And I'm like, where's your Doom? Where's your Magneto? Where's your, the guys that, even Lex Luthor. They had 3 versions of Lex Luthor. I'm like, oh, God. Are you serious?
But see, and that's the thing. And then on top of that, you got depth. Like, you got a Magneto. You know he's the bad guy. But then there are comics where you like, I want him to win because he's not necessarily a bad guy. They got depth in story. Same thing with Doom. You read the comics, and there's depth to them. You can actually read a whole comic about Doom and be like, well, that was deep. You see what I'm saying? And even though they're the bad guy, you know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying. And there's just so much more to work with. There's so much more to work with. It's not so much there's so much more. They've invested time in all their characters. And they still got characters that they don't use. Because that's what I'm saying. Both comics have a lot of stuff, and they copy off each other crazily. You know what I'm saying? And so it is what it is. Like, and most often what ends up happening is whatever is your highlight character on Marvel, they make a C character on DC, and vice versa. You see what I'm saying? Your highlight character on DC, they make like a D character on Marvel. Kind of just to be like, oh yeah, hey, he's not even really that big in our universe. But anyway, and it's whatever. And I'm not gonna go that route do the whole super fanboy thing because they've both been around since forever. They've both been around since the 40s, or these characters, and they've both been around since then. They all have characters that they've created. I think the difference is Marvel has put an onus on actually developing real stories for a multitude of characters, and not just create the same character over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. You know what I mean?
I think Marvel characters tend to be more, if you can say, realistic. Like, they seem to be more grounded in real-world issues, whereas DC characters tend to be more godlike, with the exception of Batman. They're all above human concern, and they're all, either from a planet, space, or from mythology.
No, they did make
they're major ones.
They made Red Arrow crackhead. I mean, they made Red Arrow crackhead. They did do that.
That was well after Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and them decided to, create some of these tortured characters.
It was, and I think they went. I think what they did with that, they went too far with that one. They went too. It was too much.
As far as Marvel, or
they should have just kept it on cocaine level.
With the whole Red Arrow thing, with the Red Arrow thing, too emotional. It was too much. It was like he did crack and it was over, which is kind of where it really goes. And he was forever stupid. You see what I'm saying? Doing stupid stuff, like always on that crack, even when he wasn't actually shooting it up. He was still crackish throughout his entire career. And so it was like, he's doing crazy things right now. So whatever. But again, I mean, moving on forward though, when you look at what they're trying to do, because they're trying to reinvent the wheel a little bit. with Young Justice. I thought that was a good step forward because even though you still got the Superboys and the Robins, they told their story so different, and they still got other characters. They're trying to build onto them. I wanted to see a Static Shock, but that's just me. But, outside of that, and they did show them, I wanted to see more of them. And it was cool how they did it, with the second season, focusing on the Blue Beetle. Is that what they call him? Blue Beetle. Focusing on him, focusing on some of the other characters, and actually they sent Superman, Batman off world. I thought that was great. That was great because that's what they need to do more of, to focus on the other characters, which is what they're doing with these shows and with the cartoons. And it's actually, if they could somehow channel that success into where they're trying to go forward, I mean, they can make moves because their animations are off the chain. I'm like Iconius. I watched Son of Batman. I watched the Batman Arkham joint. I watched.
I'm supposed to be watching that later this week.
Yeah, and that was straight fire. They bringing up characters that you kind of knew about, but not really, and they highlighted all of them. And I thought that was cool. That was real cool how they did that. And I think they need to continue to do that because, that's the only way they're going to be able to move forward and make this move.
Maybe that's why they chose to have Superman take out Zod at the end of the movie to start him on a tortured journey.
Well, that's more realistic. I never bought into the Boy Scout thing. And I think what they're doing with this new 52 reboot, they're making the characters more real. For example, back in the day, it was superheroes don't kill, and then they had the one joint where Wonder Woman killed the dude because the dude was killing everybody, and she killed him to stop him from killing everybody, and they all looked down on her. Whereas now, she cut people's heads off, and it's cool with it, and they cool with it. She's a warrior with a sword. What do you think she's supposed to do with a damn sword? Attack people with it? You see what I'm saying? Don't make no sense. And then the concept of Superman is more realistic where they're trying to go. This young dude that finds out he can fly around and got super strength, he ain't going to just all of a sudden, I'll never tell a lie, and I'm an honest guy. Shut up. Just shut your mouth. That don't make no sense. And they're really
American way, dude.
Yeah, whatever, dude. And so they playing it up more realistic. He's a little bit cocky, don't really know the strength of his powers, and if it has to go down, it's gonna go down. It just makes sense. So I mean, it's cool where they try. I mean, I'm not a fan of the reboot, to be personally honest with you. I think it's too late, but they're trying. They're making an effort, so there it is. You know what I mean? But overall, I mean, the only reason why I hate the reboot is because of what they did to Amanda Waller. They made her all sexy and supermodel-like. I mean, come on.
That's not cool.
Yeah.
The fact that you're complaining about it is funny to me. I don't know.
No, I mean, to me, that was one of the real characters.
I looked up when y'all was talking about this the first time, and I get where y'all going. The stupid Hollywood thing where you just can't have a fat black woman running stuff is kind of crazy.
Actually, I'm not hating on Arrow. Not at all.
Oh no, there's nothing to hate on. Come on, Arrow is that show for me anyway.
No, I mean Amanda, just Amanda. I'm cool that I'm okay that they changed her because that chick is cute. I'm sorry, it's Amanda Waller and Arrow.
You good?
But did they change her in the comic? That is
in the comics they changed her. She's this now. She's this. She looks like one. She looks like Supergirl.
I'm not cool with
all the figures, and it's like, why? Why did you
I'm
do
not
that?
cool with that.
They made her all sexy, and everybody wanted to get. Now she has love interests and all that. Amanda Waller ain't got time for that. But that's what I'm talking about. They kind of they went there with it. And it's like, why? It was a good character. Leave it alone.
Yeah, I agree. And if they did want to get somebody for TV or the movies, CCH Pounder would be perfect from Warehouse 13, the one, the black woman that was in charge.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot they could have done.
By a long shot. I can't relate.
What?
Can I say something real quick before we head out? Because I know we're getting very
we got about
time.
8 minutes.
I just want to say, if you like The Walking Dead, I beseech you all to check out ZNation. I beseech you. And I'm not saying because it's similar to The Walking Dead, because it's not. It's very campy. They don't take the genre that serious, but it's a really good story. And the main badass, I don't know if I compare her to Michonne at this point, I might like her better.
Oh, wow.
And because the TV show Michonne is not the comic Michonne. See, it's two different things here we're talking. But this black woman on ZNation, she's the truth. She is the truth. And she's like the main character, which is also different from Michonne. Yeah, so you've seen it, right, Geeko brother?
I've seen. I think I've seen the first couple episodes, and I do like her as an actor. I like her character, and you're right, Geekoni. It's not Walking Dead. It's more campy. Like we said on the last show, a couple shows back. I mean, you know, somebody was blowing weed into a zombie's face, and he was getting high. You don't see that everywhere. You know,
but it's actually getting to the point though where it's good, where I want to follow it each week and see what happens next. The story is really getting good, and I think they're on to something.
You know, they don't have. Just for you, I'm a watcher. I'm a catch up, so we could talk about it.
Catch up. I'm serious. This last episode, for instance, was really good. I think we should give it a shot when we got a few minutes to check it out. I normally wouldn't say that. I think it's sci-fi.
Oh, okay.
I think it's sci-fi.
All right. Well, I'll check it out.
I've actually got stuff after the fact on DVR and stuff like that. So
yeah, I got Constantine. I got Constantine queued up. I think I'm gonna kiss Constantine tonight before I shut down. It's interesting because I wasn't really familiar with the Constantine character that much, except for some of the early mentions of him. But it was cool. This is actually really awesome for me because Constantine is the pivotal character in the new Injustice Year 3 series, which is off to an amazing start. And so Constantine is the central figure of Year 3. So this is actually a really great opportunity for me to learn a little bit more about Constantine as I read the comic series. So this is going to work out well. It was cool.
Speaking of comics, issue 133 of The Walking Dead came out. So I had to catch that. I got the issue. Boy, Rick and them. But also, the new Walking Dead book came out this past week, too. It picks back up on the survivors in Woodbury. And the new Lestat book comes out this week, Phayce. So, just so you know. The new Lestat book is out this week, and the Game of Thrones books is out this week as well.
Oh.
Not Winds of Winter that everybody's been waiting for 6 years. This is the one that talks about all the history of Westeros, the First Men, and what happened with the Targaryens. It's basically a backstory to all the other stuff.
Oh.
So that comes out this week too. I just wanted to throw that out there that we do read. Although we know Bob and Rob only read one comic, but hey, I only read one comic, so I can't be no hypocrite. I only read The Walking Dead. So.
If I could correct that, actually, I'm also reading The Death of Wolverine, and I was actually reading one of the other Wolverine series. So I'm now.
Oh man, Logan!
I was going to catch up on The Death of Wolverine. I meant to get that on Comixology the other day.
And I read all of the Old Man Logan series. So, and Old Man Logan series was just freaking awesome. Why do I need to read The Walking Dead? I don't need to read that.
Like I said on Twitter. Just start on issue 67, which is around about where they are now.
I don't need to read it. It's a television show.
Somebody said something that's the truth tonight on Twitter, and I retweeted it. They said the best episodes of The Walking Dead are the ones that's closest to the source material. And that is so true. The craziest episodes are all based on the comic.
No.
Was y'all feeling the Psycho scene? Where they went all ham on them dudes?
I meant to ask you because you was leaking that last week, hinting around to it, and I had been calling it the Big Bad Ugly. How do you think it stacks up with the comic? And the comic, just so y'all know, Rick and them go find the hunters. They're like at a campfire or whatever in the woods, and they shoot off my man Finger, the leader of the group, I guess Garrett in the show, and they commence to doing similar, but they only show a panel of like Michionne's sword and a couple of other things. So you see they get hacked, slashed, beaten, and everything, and then they throw all their bodies in the fire.
But mine was my favorite part was the end panel where they showed them all standing there covered in blood, and then Gabriel staring at them like, "What the hell did y'all do?"
With tears in his eyes. I think tonight, even though they didn't chop bodies up and throw them in the fire, I think Rick chopped dude up. He chopped them up.
He really did.
But they didn't throw him in the fire. And they did in the church. A bit more intense.
That's what I'm saying. They didn't throw in the fire. That was one of my favorite panels when they're all standing there, and it's like they have an understanding. All of them. Like, we do what we got to do. Like,
they didn't throw him in the fire, but they killed him in the center of a church.
Exactly. And that was my favorite joint. And Gabriel, this is the hope of God. No.
She's like,
it's a place with four walls with a roof. And I was like, that's my crew. That's what they're at their best. And that's what Rick is at. That's when he's crazy Rick. Not nice, not trying to be a good leader Rick, but just straight instinct crazy Rick. That's my favorite.
But they look at these scenes from the comics, and the scenes, like they always say, okay, people expect this because they're fans of the comics. We have to kick it up a notch.
Right.
So we got to kill the crazy twin, but we're not going to let Carl do it. We're going to let Carol do it and say, look at the flowers. We know we got to kill the governor, but we got to do it this way where he gets beat up a little bit first. And it's like, wow, really? They always find a twist on it to make it more intense. And I think killing them in the woods, like in the comics, and throwing in the fire would have been graphic. I think it's just a little bit something else on it, a little bit more icing on the top to say, we're going to do this at the altar.
That I'm sure that some were very taken aback by that. Because I'm gonna lock this show down because I don't want to get caught here at the end. Geek Soul Brother, why don't you go ahead and throw out your information so people know how to partake of your amazingness?
Oh, thank you, brother. Definitely you can catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Geek Soul Brother, Blogspot, geeksoulbrother.blogspot.com, and like Big Barbara said before, we got the show Tuesdays at 10 p.m. on TalkShoe. Just search for it there, or just follow us on social media, and you'll get the link. And we have a good time talking all about craziness, news and reviews and special topics.
Oh yes, so many various special topics, and you get your daily dose of racism too. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, definitely. Surprisingly so.
You got to be there to experience it. It's just it's in a good way, and yet here we are talking about Blackish. But anyway. All right, great show, you guys. We're gonna wrap this thing up. Appreciate everyone who's still listening to the show. Thanks so much for all your support. Make sure you help. Could you please forward us to a major network so we can get paid for doing this for 2 hours?
Yeah, what the hell, people?
What the hell? What the heck? Come on now, this is ridiculous. 2 hours of all this amazing conversation. What do we say, Geekonies? We're like the Black View.
Don't get me started. We need